Hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, let me test this one. Does this work? Yes. Okay, cool. Okay, hi, my name's Angela. I'm the co-founder here at Fabric. Welcome to Fabric. It's been great meeting all of you today. I'm so excited to see everybody. Thanks for joining us. You guys, if you're sitting in the back, come closer. It's really awkward to have empty seats. Come sit up here. We're all family now, whether you like it or not. We're all related. Okay, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to Fabric before we get started, before I introduce our special guest tonight. So if this is your first time here, raise your hand. Okay. If anybody wants a tour of our factory afterwards, stay and I'll take you downstairs and I'll show you our on-demand high-tech factory. Okay, so just stay for a few minutes and we'll take a trip downstairs and check it out. But let me tell you about it first. So Fabric stands for the Fashion and Business Resource Innovation Center. Big, long words. But basically what we are is a nonprofit fashion incubator, and we're here to help people start clothing brands. We're actually democratizing access to the industry so that anybody can start a clothing brand. We're trying to provide the resources that are really hard to find, because starting a clothing brand is hard already, and then trying to find people who can make your stuff is really hard, and trying to find guidance and education is really hard. So we are doing that, and we're trying to do everything so that we have everything under one roof. So instead of just providing manufacturing, we provide education and guidance. We provide events, opportunities to participate in events, to attend events. We provide offices. We provide a classifieds page where you can find jobs. We provide an industry directory where you can find all the fashion businesses, the indie fashion businesses in the US. We provide all kinds of things. I mean, I could just go on. So I'll get to a slide where you can actually see a little bit more about our resources, but this place can do almost everything. So if there's something that you need, come to us. Probably are already doing it. And we like to say that we're democratizing the fashion industry, giving access to anybody, and then using tools, the most innovative tools, to be able to make it accessible, more affordable, sustainable. And so we call this building a digital fashion innovation center, because we use a lot of digital tools, and then we make physical products as well. So the digital and the physical together is the technology that allows us to do so many cool things. So I want to show you a little bit about what I mean by the digital. And actually, I think I have to push the, maybe, hold on. Yeah, okay. So we use technology like this. So if you had an inspiration, we can take that, turn that into a print, and then we can embed the print into pattern pieces digitally. And you can even design, manually, and then we can do that. We take your print, we can place it onto the pattern, and then we can take those pattern shapes and lay them out strategically, and then see what it's going to look like on an avatar, so you can sort of test it first before you ever cut and sew anything. And then we can print that sustainably on our sustainable printer that uses no excess water, and we can print on almost any fiber. It's not sublimation printing on polyester. We can print on cactus leather and bamboo and hemp and all kinds of sustainable fabrics. You can take your avatar and you can use it for marketing, and then you can actually make a finished product. So this is actually during our Eco Fashion Week, took place right here, this fashion show, and that was that skirt that you saw the whole process for. So we use all this technology. Oh, and we embed digital product passports into the garment, so you can learn about how the garment was made and why it was sustainable, and anything else that you want to share, about that garment that makes it special. You can even take the experience that the person has. If I bought that skirt and I wanted to put my experience of that skirt into that digital product passport, I can do that. You can transfer ownership to the person, and they can take photos of themselves wearing the garments, and then they can continue to add to that timeline of the digital product passport. So now that thing becomes like a coveted item that they'll hold on to forever and has their experiences in it. And then you can communicate with your consumers. You can update the digital product passport content and tell them, hey, I made a new skirt with a new print. So now they're going to come back and buy more from you, because you're constantly marketing to them through the digital product passport. So we got all kinds of really cool technology around here. we are super sustainable because we're trying to reinvent the way that fashion normally works. Our mission as a nonprofit is to help people. We're basically supporting apparel entrepreneurs that are just starting out and providing them with these tools and resources that even the big brands don't use. The big brands are stuck in their old school model. They're overproducing overseas in sweatshops. There's extra inventory that they end up with that gets put in the landfill because they can't even sell the amount of pieces that they have to make in order to meet minimums overseas. 30% of it ends up in the landfill and before it even makes it into the store. And then whatever doesn't sell goes into the landfill. And then after we use it, because it's made so poorly, we throw it away in a few months because it's so cheap and poorly made. All that is usually made out of plastic, and that's not biodegrading. I mean, polyester, all those man-made materials are made out of plastic. We're all wearing plastic, and that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So this model is broken, and we're trying to provide a leg up for smaller brands so that they can do really unique limited drops of artwork and cool things that they can make on demand when orders come in. So they never sit on any inventory. And that's a totally new concept for the fashion industry. So our vision is a planet focused one. We're trying to change the industry and prove that it's possible. And so this place is really special. There's not any other place like this in the whole US. We've actually helped over 2,000 apparel entrepreneurs since 2016. And we've donated a whole bunch of stuff to the community to make it cheaper and easier for people. So we provide guidance through a roadmap. And this is like a digital tool that guides you through all the steps that it takes to manufacture sewn products in this way. And we scholarship people into this roadmap so they don't have to pay for that education. In fact, it's got $70,000 worth of education in it. And we're scholarshiping people that we think are disadvantaged in some way. So if you have a disability, if you're a minority, if you are a female, if you're like financially challenged, those are different reasons why we would give you a scholarship into that program. And that way you don't have to pay for the education side of it. You don't have to go back to school and major in fashion. You don't have to actually hire a full-time production manager. You can do this just by following our roadmap. And then we also provide all kinds of other free resources. And we document all of that and we report it to City Council. And that's how we earn our stay in the City of Tempe building. We've documented over $13 million worth of free and discounted programs and services since we started. Really proud about it. Some of the free things that you guys should all know about, because you should all be free members. I met so many of you today, and almost all of you are in the fashion industry in some way or another. So you should take advantage of our free things. And the first one is our business directory. Create a free membership on our website and immediately go add your business to our directory. And there's different sections for designers and brands. There's models, hair, makeup, photographers, all the different sections that you would need for fashion. And you can use it to find other people to hire and to work with and to promote your own business. And it's giving you a backlink on our website to yours, which is great for SEO. So do it immediately. And then also you can find jobs on our classifieds page. So if you're looking for a fashion job, go there. If you would like to give us a job to post there, we'll post it for free. So you don't have to pay for a job board. We also have an events calendar that's free. So if you have an event coming up, send it to us. We'll put it on there and promote your event for free. And also go there and find events to participate in and to attend. It's not just our events. It's filled with whatever events we know of. But we have events too. We have a ton of events and they are free. We try to make it so that you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on being in a fashion show. So you can actually participate in Eco Fashion Week every year here for free. If you're an apparel entrepreneur, you can attend events for free. We have this event that's free. We have all kinds of different opportunities, and they're all on our events calendar page. All of this is under a community tab on our website. So you just dive into our website and look for these things, because you could be taking advantage of these. We also have studios and offices and desk rentals and things like that. So if you need a place to run your business out of, you can do that. And then we have educational opportunities that are free. And we have a free sourcing library. So when you start your business and you need to find your wholesale fabrics and trims, you can come here. And if you're staying for the tour afterwards, I'll show it to you. It's downstairs in our factory. It's filled with thousands of swatches. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years, and I'm just sharing all of my resources in our roadmap and in our sourcing library and everything. So you can find all the things that you need to be able to make your product. And then this is what our roadmap contains. So when you work with us as an apparel entrepreneur to get a product made, to go through the cut and sew manufacturing, you level up your membership to a paid membership. And that's what I was saying we offer scholarships into. So the roadmap has 36 steps to start your business, 27 steps for branding, 74 steps for design and development. All these different steps contain videos, downloadable documents, instructions, leads to this and that, and basically gets you through starting a business, branding it, designing a sewn product, getting prototypes made with tech packs and patterns, going through small batch manufacturing domestically, and marketing it and everything. So it's all in there so that you can do it yourself, and that means you don't have to hire all these people that know what they're doing. You can do it. I'm providing you with everything I know in there to guide you through it. Okay, now that you kind of know what fabric is, we're gonna begin our event tonight. First, before I introduce our speaker, I want to tell you why we do this. So behind the scenes was something that I thought was important years ago so that we could educate people on different parts of the industry and bring in an expert to tell their journey. And so you can hear what it took to become that expert and then have them teach us something so that we can all learn, something about the industry. So each month we do this. We have different parts of the industry. So sometimes there's a stylist or a makeup artist or a shoe expert or a print designer or a pattern maker or whatever. And it's a different topic. So keep coming to these because you're going to learn lots of different things from lots of different people. And this month I thought, wouldn't it be great to hear from an apparel entrepreneur who is making a name for themselves locally in a way that I call scrappy. So they have been able to figure out how to get their name out there and to be able to get some recognition in an industry that's really hard to get recognition in, right? And it really does take being scrappy. It takes being involved. It takes just showing up. The fact that you guys are all here today is showing up. Keep showing up because that's what this person does. They show up, they go do things, they just immerse themselves in things. And to be honest with you, that's what I did from the beginning of my career too. And I never really realized it would lead to owning a fashion incubator. So you never know where your journey is going to take you, but just show up and do it. And that's where it leads to one thing or another. So through my entire career, I've just said yes to everything that's come my way. If somebody asks me to speak at something, okay, I'm there and to do it. Somebody wants me to teach a class, okay, I'm there, I'll do it. If they want me to be in a fashion show, I'll do it. And I did that for many years. And eventually it led to more and more connections. And then it led to where I am today. And I'm proud to say that I've run fashion businesses that are profitable. I've had been in about 200 news articles and on TV shows and things like that. And it was only because of that. It was just because I said yes. It was just because I went and met people and did those things. So when I met our speaker today, I kind of saw what I did in him. I've been watching him and seeing that he does the same thing. He kind of says yes to a lot of things and he goes out and he does it. And I thought this is a skill that I think other apparel entrepreneurs could use because sometimes people don't believe in themselves and they're afraid or they're too busy or whatever. They don't realize that's a really big part of the whole journey. Like get out there, get your name out there just by participating. And he's doing such a good job of it. I'm like, can you just tell your journey so people can learn from you? So our speaker today is Alexandre. He is an amazing apparel entrepreneur, designer brand. Let's give him a hand. Yay! I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this. So what we always do when we get started, go ahead and grab your mic. And I'm going to tell you, first of all, keep it close to your face because it tends to go, turn it on. Yeah, there's a little button right here. Yeah, people tend to do this and then it doesn't get picked up by the camera. So
okay,
we are live streaming tonight. We want to make sure everybody can hear us out there as well. So put it up to you. Let's make sure we can hear you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of people that I don't know. So I appreciate you guys. Can we start? I'm a little nervous. Can we start off by telling a joke or something? Does anyone have a
joke? Does anybody know a joke? Don't be nervous. Everybody's here to support you.
That was a good one. I appreciate that. That was a good one. All right.
Okay. So the first thing I always ask everybody is to tell us a little bit about themselves as a child, because what we're going to do is we're going to learn about what it took to become Alex. So like, what did that journey look like? Where did it begin? What path did he veer off on? Because it's never a straight shot. It's never a clean line. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm just going to eventually become what I want to be. Nobody ever does. It's very rare that you just go straight to what you want to be. And it veers off. And sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes things aren't what you expected. And you have to get back on that path. And it leads to wherever you are today. So we're going to start by hearing what Alex was like when he was a baby. Okay, so tell us about little you.
Well, obviously I wasn't as serious as I am now. That's the first thing that I noticed. My mom's in the crowd, so she can speak a little bit more
Yay,
to this.
Mom.
But I was a crazy kid. I was always smiling. I was always trying to make people laugh. Always trying to have fun. I was a crier as a kid too, so very much attention seeking, which we'll get into a little bit later once we talk about more of the journey here. But yeah, I had nice chubby cheeks. Sean Living. Yeah. So I was a hooper. And I was back in the Midwest in Illinois. And I was pretty good. We went to Peoria, Illinois, for a basketball tournament. And Sean Livingston is from Peoria, Illinois, and his team was sponsoring the event. So yeah, I almost beat his team we lost by 2 points because my teammates, it was a whole thing, but
he's blaming it on other people.
Yeah, I gotta. You guys don't know them, so I can blame it on them. So,
well, did you think that you liked fashion when you were little? Did you know anything about did you go, oh, I'm very particular about what I'm wearing or anything? No? Okay, interesting.
No, I did not. But my mom, you can see it had the Tommy on in the little sweater vest. So like my mom always had me right. So
moms like the fashion. Yeah. Yes.
But as you can see, as I got older, I started to take over. So I wasn't that fashion inclined, but I like sports. I liked basketball a lot. So
did you play in school or anything?
Yeah, I played when was it? 6th grade, 7th grade? I played in 6th grade. That's when I started basketball, and then I tore my Achilles as a sophomore in high school, and I kind of like ended my hopes and dreams of going to the NBA.
Were you on the high school team at the time?
I was, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man, that's a bummer.
No, it's cool. It was a good humbling experience, and it got me to here. So
that's exactly part of the journey. Hey, I'm going to hand this to you.
Okay.
This is the button that switches slides. That way you have the freedom to tell your story.
Cool.
So that one, pointed over there.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, so enough of those pictures. Let's go to some more. All right, this is when I got into high school. This is when I started like, all right, I got some nice colors. I can kind of pick out what I want. I still wasn't that good, but I'm not a stylist. I'm a designer. Okay, I make clothes. But as you can see, I was more like the preppy, except the babe jacket. If you know about the babe jacket, you know about the babe jacket. But I was more like the preppy. I like to
the bathing ape.
The bathing ape, yeah, the bathing ape jacket.
Nice.
But I liked, actually, I'm gonna tell a story. In middle school, I think I was in 7th grade. I got in trouble for what was I doing? I got in trouble for sagging, and I got in trouble for cursing at school. And my mom made me wear, and she can attest to this. She made me wear dress pants and the same polo every day for like 2 weeks straight.
That was the punishment?
That was the punishment.
Oh my God.
But I had these Converse on, and I'll never forget those. I ran them to the ground because of this. They had holes in them, but I couldn't switch because she wouldn't let me have holes in them. It was crazy. But that taught me that was the first time I like really started to appreciate wearing different outfits and like putting things together and kind of like expressing myself that way. But that was just like a really, really like.
Oh my gosh. I actually have to interject here. That's amazing. Like what a funny way to punish your child.
It was traumatizing to say the least. So yeah, that was kind of like my first moments of fashion was me getting in trouble. So
I love it.
Yeah, but I really I like to take the opportunities of like in high school, like you guys know, like Spirit Week and stuff, where you like dress up in different things. I used to like I won in high school. I won most spirited, so I like to take those opportunities to really express myself in the fashion world. Yeah. So all right, that's enough of that. What we got next? My mom, again, she's a very, very big influence in my life. She always stressed education and like learning and always trying to find like a higher level of learning. And if you don't know something, go to school for it. That's what she always stresses. So I went to 3 different colleges after graduated in high school. I was an okay student. I wasn't the best, but I wasn't the worst. I went to the University of Illinois. Got into a lot of trouble out there.
Wait, what did you want? What did you want to do originally? So when you were
Oh.
going to school, did you have a major already?
It's funny. So I had no idea. I'm not a big change person, so like I was freaking out. I wanted to go into construction, but then business because I wanted to start a business. And then I'm a creative guy, so like some type of art, but like I don't know what to go to school for art, right? So I just went to U of I for general studies, and again got into too much trouble.
And where were you living at the time?
This was in Illinois, so St. Louis. St. Louis.
So your family was there, so you didn't have to go far.
No. My brother had already gone to U of I too, so like it kind of helped ease my pain of like going away from the school.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary. And I can confidently say that it was very scary. But anyway, so this is the fun part. I got into trouble. I ended up flunking out of U of I. Came home. I don't realize like the magnitude of this, but when I got home, probably like a couple of days later, I for the first time ever heard my mom like cry, like like actually cry. So like that was like the first time I'm like, dang, I really messed up. Like, you get in trouble as a kid, you're like, it's whatever. But like, dang, I was like, dang, I really messed up.
You never want to disappoint somebody like that. Your mom, oh man, that's the worst punishment right there. Worse than wearing their polo shirt and your khakis or whatever she made you wear.
Well, yeah. It was a lot of money that I wasted too. So.
Yeah, but this is a good life lesson. So again, the pathway is never straight. So sometimes those things are the best things that happen because they lead to something else.
Yeah. So again, came back. One thing she said is like, you're not going to be under my roof and not just like sit around. Right. So she signed me up for some classes at community college. If you're from Illinois, it's called SWIC, which is it's not the best community college. Let's just say that. But I did that, got my degree. I have associates in arts. So that's kind of where like the more stricter kind of art fashion sense kind of comes from.
So just art in general. So you got to take some classes in lots of different mediums and things like that. A little bit of painting, drawing,
like some art history. Okay. There was a few business classes as well. But yeah, a lot of like just basic art. Great. Painting, drawing. There's another one that I can't remember, but just like a lot of basic stuff. And
appreciation for the elements and principles of design.
Yeah, what she said. And then I ended up going to a school called Fontbonne University. That is where I got my bachelor's in science of fashion merchandising. Again, shout out to mom. I'm gonna say shout out to moms for a lot of these things here. She kept me on the straight and narrow out here. But that's where I got my degree in fashion merchandising. That's where it's like all my as creatives, you kind of just like are all over the place. That's where it kind of like got corralled in at Fontbonne. And that's where that top picture is a picture of a display that I made. Looking back on it, it wasn't the best, but it was cool at the time for me. It was very Prada, kind of Saint Laurent inspired. So yeah.
So how did you pay your way through school at this point?
Shout out to mom.
Even after the first bout with school, you were still, wow. Oh, well, there you go.
Didn't even know that.
No. Oh my God.
Shout out to mom. Again, you guys are going to hear that a lot here.
Moral of the story, everybody needs mom.
Yeah. I think it's on this next slide. No, it's not. So at Fontbonne, well, actually, first, this picture of the newspaper is a picture of me and my friends. We went to a soup kitchen to like just volunteer, do all types of stuff. Again, shout out to mom. She instilled like the generosity and giving back. And,
Okay, Mom, I think you need to come up here.
at this point, honestly, this is like what is it, autobiography? But yeah, she still instilled that in a young age, like giving back, helping people. It doesn't always have to be like a soup kitchen, but just like that mindset of always like wanting to, give back to the community, which is what, like, yeah, Angela, like that's why it was so crazy that we found you all the way from Illinois and I was able to do the internship. But we'll get into that in a second. Those left two pictures, I don't know if you guys know, but the left guy, his name is Jeff Staple, and the right guy, his name is Carl Kanai. Carl Kanai owns, Carl Kanai, the brand, one of the more premier Black designers. And I got to meet them at the Magic Trade Show in Las Vegas.
What were you doing at Magic?
My school, they I don't even know how they got into it, but like it was like a field trip type of thing. So me and probably like 8 other students all went to Vegas. We stayed at the Venetian, so we was living large too.
So if anybody is new to the fashion industry, Magic is like the oldest trade show. It's been going on, I don't even know, 50 years or something. And it takes place in Las Vegas twice a year. And then the whole industry shows up and brands have like a booth that shows their latest collection, and then buyers go to place their orders, and then the brands know how many to make, and then they go into production and then fill the orders 6 months later. So when you're a brand, you want to be there to show, your product, and then if you're a buyer, you want to be there to choose what you're going to carry in your collection. Yeah. And it's basically only industry only. So the fact that your school got you in there is great, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to get that experience. You can't get in just as a regular person. So that's great.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Vegas, but there's like the Strip, and then there's like these just gigantic like convention centers in the back. That's where the Magic Trade Show was. So there's like 3 or 4 floors of like,
multiple convention centers too.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And probably 15,000 people per floor.
You can't even see the whole thing. If you're a buyer, you can't even like see every single exhibitor there, because it's just so in the 3 days that you're there, it's so big.
It was the first 2 days, like we had to like, do assignments and stuff like that. But the last day they were just like go do whatever and meet us back here.
Oh, that's fun.
So like I couldn't even finish the entire I'm in pretty good shape, but I couldn't even finish the entire thing. Like it was so much walking.
Yeah. And
then there's all like these free things. Like, I don't know if you guys ever been to a trade show, but there's all like
stickers,
bunch of freebie stickers. There was like tote bags, denim swatches. Like, I'm a freak. You say free, I'm the man. So I got 2 tote bags. I'm walking around with it. Like, it was a full on workout. So, but I got to meet those 2. And one thing I asked both of them, like, any advice, young designer, like the cliche question. I asked them the cliche question. Jeff Staples said, don't worry about social media. He said, stick to what you know. If you're good at Instagram, go 100% at that. Don't worry about diversifying, because you're just going to spread yourself thin and you're going to end up, not reaching the amount of people that you could have reached if you were just like solely on Instagram, right? And Carl Kanai said, it was the funniest thing. I asked him, and I guess he was like tired, but like he like leaned in close and whispered in my ears, like, he was like, get your mind and your body right. And once you get your mind and your body right, your designs will be right.
Oh my goodness.
And
deep.
I'm like 20 at the time, and I'm like, bro, what? Like,
what is that mean?
About? So I just walked off, and I smiled. I said, thank you. Like, can I get a picture? And I just walked out. I was like, that was the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life. But now I'm like understanding, like, your body's a temple. Your mind is like something that's very crucial to, thinking clearly and really fleshing out all your ideas, or else, again, as creatives, we're always all over the place. So I understand that now, but back at the time I was like, man, what is Carl Kanai? Like, he's weird. Let's see. All right. So again, this is kind of into font bond era. So I'm like a junior, senior in college. This is where, so that top left picture, that was the first fashion show I ever attended. My boy in the wheelchair, he went to school in Nebraska, in Omaha, Nebraska. And he was like, yo, we're having this fashion week. You should come out. And I was like, sure, why not? Let's do it. So I went out there and I experienced it for the first time. And like, even though it was small, it was still like very like captivating for me. And that like kind of like sparked like, okay, I want to go to Paris. I want to go to Milan, do all this crazy stuff. And then this bottom picture, um, I'm gonna go back a little bit. After I flunked out of U of I, I say that with pride now. So after I flunked out of U of I, probably as I'm in like junior college or community college, like figuring that out, I started a brand called International. Does anyone have a brand here? Did anyone have a brand before this brand? Like a brand before the brand? You guys are the cool guys. Okay, you guys. Okay. Well, I had two brands actually, but the first one was called International Friends. I know, corny name. Don't even like look at me.
I love that name. Actually, I think it's really catchy. It's cool.
Yeah.
International Friends. I don't know. I think it's cool.
No, I hate that name so much.
I love it. I love it.
I appreciate you. But I had a good brand called International Friends. And to prove to my mom, I'm like, yeah, I'm taking this serious. I got a bunch of samples made, got a few people together, and I invited some family friends, people that don't know anything about fashion, but I knew would come and support. And we had a fashion show in my mom's basement. Everyone's talking about rapping in the mom's basement, but I had a fashion show in my mom's basement. Look at that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. But we didn't do any video, so like we don't have any video from it. But I have that one picture, and I commemorate that because as you'll see in a second, it grew from that moment. So yeah, what was I saying?
I want to talk about fashion shows really quickly, since we're talking about
please.
that. So I think a lot of people, when they first start, they think they need to do a fashion show. Like that just seems to be part of the industry, like, oh, I need to do a fashion show. It's changed so much over the decades. Like it used to be that you did have to do fashion shows because there wasn't social media, and like that was how you got in front of all of the brands or the buyers, was to have them sitting on the runway and placing orders and things like that. So fashion shows have changed over the years because they're now a lot more of a social thing. It's basically open to everybody, and you can go and sit and you can have them. And I think it's that thrill of, being on stage and doing all of that. Fashion shows can be really expensive. If you're going to have your own fashion show, you're paying for all of the lights and the staging and the, models and, the whole entire thing, unless you can get a lot of people to donate their time, but then later they're complaining like, oh, nobody pays me to do my, to do my job. And, so then you're reeling from all of that. Like, I feel bad. I couldn't pay you. And it's so much stress to put on a fashion show, the amount of time that it takes to put that together and everything. And then you can go participate in somebody else's fashion show. And it's usually really expensive because they had to pay for lights and sounds and, all of that stuff. And what did you get for being on that runway for 5 minutes? What's the ROI for the thousands of dollars that you spent to do that? So
a couple hundred followers on Instagram.
Yeah, is it worth it? So I always just want to put this out there to think about. Like, is the fashion show really the end all be all of what we're doing this for? Or is it to actually make the clothes and get it into the hands of the people that want to wear it? And now that we have social media, I mean, that's your fashion show. Like you can get it out there in a lot of different ways, or try to create more affordable ways to get, if you want to be in a fashion show, how can you do that and affordably pull it off? And it is about collaboration and getting together and thinking about it a little bit differently. So if a model needs some experience, then you've got a volunteer model because they're probably not going to be hired anyways to be in a real fashion show. So they should be able to get some experience. And maybe you don't have the best model that has all the experience, but you have somebody willing to wear your stuff. And that can be a gritty, cool kind of aesthetic, right? Or the person that needs some experience for their portfolio for photography can shoot it for you, or so on. And then you build this crew of people that are all collaborating, and that becomes your little crew. And instead of them thinking, oh, you're just asking me to do things for free all the time, they have to think also, you're putting in a lot of work into this. You're putting in all the time to actually create these clothes. You're putting in more work than anybody else. You're putting in 6 months of your life, probably, actually sewing all these pieces and getting them out there and everything. And you don't necessarily have to have a fashion show. You could literally get it out there in other ways too. So you're also providing opportunity for all these other people to get that experience and then to collaborate together and keep doing these shows together. And then eventually your skill level all grows together, and then you're putting on much better fashion shows. They don't look like, your mom's basement fashion show anymore. They look like something a lot more glossier and glamorous, and you were able to pull that off without investing thousands of dollars, because you need your thousands of dollars to make your clothes. So it's really hard as a designer, because you're under all this pressure to like do a fashion show, but you don't have any money to do it, and then everybody wants you to pay them to do it. Imagine how much money it would take to pay all the people involved in putting together your fashion show if you had to do that, So building a community, like networking with all the people and rising together, is a great way to do that. And so you were starting to do that from back then. And I see you, Alex. I see you doing it now. I watched you do it, and you're building this awesome group who are here to support you. You guys are all together, growing together. So I think that's an important part of your journey. That fashion show in mom's basement. That was the beginning of it.
Yeah, it was very important. Fashion shows, and we're going to talk more about this in a second, but fashion shows it's like a decision. It's like you can do it, of course, right? I encourage everyone to do fashion shows because they're fun, right? They're fun at the end of the day. But if you're actually trying to sustain your business, like, it's cool to do it when you're starting your business, but if you're actually trying to sustain your business, it's not sustainable unless you have seed money or angel investors, or if you're blessed that way, then by all means do some fashion shows.
Or you become a big enough brand where there's a budget for that.
Right. But by that time, you're probably going to get invited to New York or Milan or Paris or whatever, the LA, because that's getting pretty big now. But otherwise, don't do it. You're better off getting on social media. Should I continue with the early days, or?
Yeah, if there's anything else you think is a good, important thing to share about your journey.
How many guys upcycle? Who knows how to sew? Anyone know how to sew? Do you guys upcycle stuff a lot? Okay. Well, I started off upcycling. That is why me and Angela connected as well. But back in St. Louis, during the pandemic was a good time, man. Let me not say that. That was crazy. I was fortunate enough to have a good time during the pandemic. Let me rephrase that. That was insane. Yo, cut that. But timestamp. But during the pandemic, that's when I really learned how to sew. My mom showed me a few things. Again, shout out to mom's catchphrase here. But I was able to like really teach myself YouTube University, and like really go hard and just like have a lot of fun making new things, ordering fabric offline. Going to what is it called? The Garment District in LA. Is it the Garment District? The Fabric District in LA. And just whatever I can find, whatever I can get my hands on, and just going crazy, putting pieces of fabric on a pair of jeans and like, oh yeah, this is fire. Like, and not knowing what I was doing, but just like having fun with it. That was like the most raw version of myself. These are a few things I made. The Fendi fabric on the top left. That was a really good piece. I really enjoy that. I don't know where it is at this point. That Dior tapestry thing. I called it what did I call it? An overcoat. That was the first thing that I sold. And I called it an overcoat because I knew it would like it would elevate it. It would make people be like, oh, an overcoat. But it's really just like, you just put it on. And that was, again, that was the first thing I sold. I sold it at like $120. And I don't know if Carlos, do you remember how many we sold? It was well over like 20 of them. Yeah. But this was the first time I realized how difficult manufacturing was. I wasn't the manufacturer, by the way. I was sewing in my mom's basement. Oh my goodness. I was sewing in my mom's basement, and I ordered this fabric off Etsy. I don't know if you guys have ordered fabric off Etsy, but don't do it. Just to quantify this, we released them in January. I ordered the fabric probably like the second week of January. So like first week of January, I ordered like second week of January. I didn't get the fabric until middle of March.
Oh my gosh.
I had to send out, this is the first time I had to send out like apology emails. I'm DMing people, I'm posting like, you see like the black screen and you're like, apologies for this and that. Like I'm doing all this and I'm like, yeah, I feel like a businessman, but like for the wrong reasons, you know what I'm saying? Luckily, only one person was like, "Yeah, I don't want this anymore. Give me my money back."
And this was during the pandemic.
This was during the pandemic, right after like it kind of like ended, like 2021.
Gosh, everybody was letting people down during that time, though.
No. This was different. But there was a blessing in disguise because I sat on the phone with Etsy support for like 8 hours and got all my money back. So this was like,
God.
I had double the money because only one person refunded. So I had all the people's money that they bought one, and then I got my fabric money back. So I basically got fabric for free, and I still save face.
Oh wow!
And now I had double the money. So that was like a little seed money for when I eventually moved out here and joined the fabric team.
I just want to touch base on this. So this is another a good educational moment. So you're trying to make these all yourself.
Yeah.
How did you end up figuring out what to charge for it?
That was one thing I had to learn too. I didn't know what to charge.
Yeah.
I just picked a big number and was like, yeah.
Okay.
I was hoping, like, honestly, I was hoping like, all right, this is like a big enough number to where people are like, so I'd only get a few orders. So like, it'd be cool. Like I'm doing my thing, but I also wouldn't have like this huge workload. But that was not the case. It obviously worked out because, typically I like to stay in like the 240% markup range. If you don't know, 240% is whatever your wholesale or like the manufacturer price is, you multiply that by 240% or 2.4%. So if it's $30, it would be $60, $90 and like, or like $105, something like that. Good math right there. So luckily the fabric was, I think, $9-ish a yard. And then my labor costs, I was cheap back then. So it was probably like $5.
Oh boy.
$5 per piece. So my markup was like, Bitcoin markup. I was like 800% up on the markup.
See, that's the thing. So when most people are starting, they don't know what to charge. And it's really hard to figure out what your own value is, what your own worth is. And that's the problem is most apparel entrepreneurs undervalue themselves. They don't feel like confident in their own sewing skills, so they don't charge enough for the time that it takes to make it. And maybe you aren't a great sewer, so maybe you shouldn't charge a whole bunch at the beginning. And but the time that it takes to make something, making one thing from scratch could take you weeks. It could take you days. I don't know. It depends on how complicated the thing is. But are you getting paid for that time? And if you calculate how much time it actually took you and then divide it by what like, are you making any money? Are you making under minimum? Are you paying yourself under minimum wage to make this thing? And when you're making each one yourself, that's the problem. That's the hard part. How do you make something that you can afford to make? What do you price it at? So one of the things that I would advise if somebody is thinking about doing, especially with upcycling. So I've had my own upcycled brand since 2001. I make upcycled t-shirt ball gowns. So like the t-shirt dress in the back there. And I had to figure out how to be able to make them individually myself and be able to charge enough to cover the time that it took me to do it. So it took me a long time to figure out how long this takes me to make. I had to make a bunch of them. I had to get really good at making them to know that I can make them quicker. The only way to make something really easy to make is to make the same garment over and over. So I decided to come up with a style. The style is the same bodice and the same skirt, but different lengths. So you can either get it in a mini or a knee length or a floor length, but I can make that bodice the same every single time. I'm just making in different sizes. So after making hundreds of them, I can sew them so fast and I know how long it's going to take me to do it. And that's how you can manufacture something yourself. But if you're making different things every single time, if like you get an order for this and now you're going to make this brand new thing and you're starting from scratch, it's going to take you weeks to make that thing. So how can you ever justify a high enough price point to like pay yourself for that time? And I think people are scared to charge enough and then they never really get paid for what they're doing. They never can make a living that way. So you have to figure out what that looks like and make a specific item that you can offer over and over, like that you become known for. That was another thing was figuring out. In the beginning, I did a lot of upcycling. I made skirts out of tidy whities, believe it or not. I had a whole skirt collection. They weren't used. They were they were ones that I got at the dollar store. And I used to patch them together. I used to make a white collar criminal shirt, which is a shirt where I took a button-down shirt and I put it on the bias where the buttons went across like this and the collar became the strap. And it was the same thing every single time. I made sweaters into legging or leg warmers. I made all kinds of different things. Eventually, I was like, this is ridiculous. I need to stick to one thing. And I started making the t-shirt ball gowns. And the minute I started doing that, the orders started to pick up because everybody started to know, hey, she's the one that makes the t-shirt ball gowns. So if you can find the one thing that you do and just keep doing that one thing over and over, people know you for it, and then you get better at it. And so you can actually make it quicker yourself if you're going to be your own manufacturer. These are all things that you have to stumble through when you're first beginning. And, it's hard to get through that kind of stuff and figure that out and make a living doing it. And then figuring out how much your labor costs versus how much your materials cost and, all of that stuff. It's different for manufacturing because it's a whole different model. You're cutting a whole stack of layers of clothing at the same time, or fabric at the same time. You're sewing in an assembly line where everything's already threaded, and there's a whole tech pack that explains this goes first, this goes second, this goes third, and the first person's just sewing shoulders all day, the second person's sewing side seams all day. So you can manufacture for a fraction of what that thing would cost if you made it yourself. So when you first start, most people upcycle because it's easier. You can, take something that already exists and take it apart a little bit and add your own like patches and things like that. It's a great way to start. But then you got to figure out how to turn that into something that you can actually make money from and understand how to cost it. So this is a thing I see in a lot of designers. That's their same journey, and you're learning that along the way. So it's really awesome that you said that, because that is exactly the way that it happens for everybody. And just trying to figure out the costs. Most of them just throw it out there. Okay, what do I think I can sell this for? Hopefully it pays for itself. But people will spend more money than you think they will.
Yeah,
they really will.
I was about to say that.
And you have to make sure that it's special in some way, right? So it's got to be unique so that they understand the value of it.
Yeah, totally agree. I kind of, when I was upcycling and selling stuff, I kind of did the opposite. Like I didn't make the same thing every time, but I priced it at the same thing every time, which is backwards.
So everything was
back
$120 or whatever.
It was like either 80 or like 100 or it was like always like a set number for like, if I was upcycling some jeans, it was always $80. If I was like the tapestry, that was always 100 or $120, whatever it was. So like, again, like it was kind of like backwards in that sense. I didn't understand manufacturing. I didn't understand any of this stuff. So I was kind of just like winging it, see what people did.
Well, that's the way it always works in the beginning.
So where do you want to take this next? I got a bunch of pictures. Do you have any questions about these pictures? Does anyone have questions about anything? Sorry, I'm...
No, we'll do questions at the end.
Okay.
Keep telling your story.
So this is right before I got to fabric, actually. That top left picture was my first fashion show in Arizona with fabric.
Well, what brought you here? Like, how did you end up here first? Let's figure that out.
Shout out to moms. They came out here 2 years before we did eventually. And I graduated school. I had visited a couple times, and I was like, I really like the weather out here. I'm from St. Louis, Chicago. Like, so, man, that's snow. I don't know if you guys are familiar with snow out here, but my man Deshaun knows, and that snow is is different. So I knew I didn't want to go to work and go to school and have to like actually do things in the snow. So I wanted some warmer weather. Me and my boys back there had a podcast that was pretty popular. So we were traveling to like back and forth to LA a lot, and we thought it'd be a good idea to move somewhere closer, save on flights and stuff.
So you came with friends? Yeah,
Carlos and Jeannie back there. Mm-hmm. Can you guys wave your hands, please? Thank you. Like those handsome black men right there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when we decided we were moving out here, I had to graduate from Fonbonne. I had to get an internship to I don't even know, but I had to get an internship. So I was looking for some in Arizona, and I don't know where I found you guys. I don't know where she found you guys, but LinkedIn or something.
Oh. It's all about mom again.
Shout out to mom. So I went out here, did the internship, and while I was at the internship, I learned in like a week, I learned so much just from the conversations, from just walking around the building, just talking to people. Does Rosie and Antonio still work here? Oh,
No.
well,
No.
they had these two Hispanic sewers that didn't really speak English, and I don't speak Spanish. So I'm like trying to communicate with them, like trying to learn, like, oh, why did you do that? And they're just like pointing at things, and like we learned like a pretty good sign language by the time I left Fabric. So like, you know, we had grown a pretty good relationship with them. But again, just like again, walking around the building, I don't care who you were, what you're doing. I'm like trying to like, I mean, anything. I don't know, but
Pick your brain.
yeah, pick your brain. Just trying to find out what's going on. I mean, you know, I was helping everywhere. Like if you needed something, I was there. Because you know, I didn't have like a place to go to, so I couldn't do like, you know, come in for 3 hours and then go home. Like I was there for 8-9 hours a day, and then I would go back to the apartment that I was renting or leasing or whatever the 3-month renting thing is. Because like, you know, I had nothing to do, so like I was like, I might as well help. And one thing I did though, because at first they just stuck me in the front. Nate, have they stuck you in the front yet?
Yep. Nate's interning right now, and he's experiencing exactly what he gets pulled to do a lot of interesting things, but he sits at the front too.
So that was like my first week. But while I was doing that, they had me log in and sign up for like the free membership. And the one thing I remember vividly going through in detail was the like business step-by-step packet thing.
Oh, the roadmap?
The roadmap. Yeah, the roadmap.
Okay.
From like how to get an LLC to branding to like fashion shows to like manufacturing process. I was like step by step, and I was like, wow, I don't know anything. And the first thing that caught me was the LLC part. I was like, I don't need that, man. So I skipped that part. The rest of it, I was going through in detail, taking notes. I don't know if I still have the notebook, but I was taking notes. I would take the time to like go on fashion YouTubes, learn about different designers, learn about their journeys, and just like write down notes. Because again, like I wasn't doing anything. If somebody walked in, I would be like, Angela, like, because her office was right there at the time. So I'm like, yo, Angela. So I didn't really do anything at the time. So I was just taking that time to learn and absorb and just like figure out what was going on. And then the event space they had, or still have, I guess. That was where my love of like theatrics kind of came from, and like putting on a show for people, because you guys had Tempe Fashion Week the first year I was there. And I worked Tempe Fashion Week, and there was like a beautiful floral set that they had there that year. And just the way the models were working, the clothes, like it was a very like I really enjoyed it. So I took that, and was it the flash mob right after this? I think it was the flash mob. Oh no, I guess we had the why am I drawing a blank on the name? What is it? What is your fashion show called?
The Label Horde fashion
Label
show.
Horde. I don't know why it's called Open Mode, but Label Horde fashion show. It was right after that, or Label Horde fashion show was right after Tempe Fashion Week. And they invited me to be a part of it, and I had nothing, but I said yes. As she knows, you got to say yes to everything. I had nothing made. I had some ideas. But I had nothing made. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'll do it. Like easy. I got a bunch of stuff at the crib right now.
I'm just learning this now.
You got to fake it till you make it. So I went home. I went to SAS Fabric, bought a bunch of denim. I ordered some French terry, some white French terry off of some random website. And I went to work. Actually, Uli was still here. She's the pattern maker. And I had her, I brought in some jeans again. I don't know if you knew about this, but I'm like, yo, Uli, can you like real quick just make these like jean patterns and like, can you do this real quick? And she was like, I guess. So I'm like slightly rushing her because like the show was like probably 2 days later.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was like 2 days later. So went home every night, like up to like 12, 1 o'clock, just like cutting patterns, sewing stuff. Cause I had to do, it was 2 outfits. Or 2 full looks. I'm like cutting, I'm trying to like do fittings with the models and like telling them what I want them to do while they're walking. And like, it was this whole crazy thing. And we eventually made it. Actually, the girl wearing the jeans, she didn't have back pockets because I didn't have time to put those in. But it was an aesthetic. It was a vibe. But before that, and this is kind of like the hunger of it. This is kind of like where that comes into play, and like where she says like what did you say that
your scrappiness,
the scrappiness comes into play. You guys know what First Friday is, of course, right? I didn't know at the time, so this is my first Friday. My first Friday.
Wait, we're gonna back this up a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
And were you already working at this time for us?
Yeah.
Remember
Oh,
we
so
hired
yeah, I
you?
guess they hired me on the spot. Shouts out to Fabric. They were the first people to actually like believe in me. Well, shouts to mom,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
But
mom comes first.
outside of immediate family to like believe in what I was doing and like my mindset and like my vision. And man, I can't thank God enough for you guys. Like just
Aw.
taking the chance on me and making me the production
Well,
cutter.
okay, so this is where I want to say, like, the reason that you're the feature here is the scrappiness, right? And
Yeah.
so the involvement that you had, the willingness to take on any job, the willingness to say yes to everything that came his way, to to be like, okay, I'll do that, I'll learn that, yeah, sure, I can do it, whatever. Really was like, I was like, okay, this is awesome, because we do get a lot of interns, and sometimes people aren't as willing, or they don't have as much, gumption or whatever. And so he picked up things really quickly, and he was willing to do everything. Nate's the same way. It's like, there's just certain people that like they've got it. They're just going to do whatever it takes to do it. And so when the opportunity came up where we needed to hire somebody to be our cutter, he had already been helping with the cutting with the original cutter. And so he knew how to use it. And we were like, well, we're hiring right now. We already know you, we love you. Why don't you be the cutter? And so that worked out really nicely. And that's another lesson here. So get your foot in the door, even if you're working for free for somebody, to get experience. And then they're going to hire you before they go out and find somebody else, because they already know you. If you know the job, you know how to do it. That was how I got my first job in the industry. Like, I'm going to work for minimum wage or for free just to get my foot in the door. And then I moved up to become the production manager for a huge brand, So it's like they're going to hire within before they go someplace else. And that experience of cutting, you can see up on the screen right now. So it's stacking layers of fabric, placing the marker, which is the pattern pieces that are squeezed in with all the sizes, and cutting through with a big, dangerous, scary knife. Sorry, Mom. That cuts all those layers at one time. So it's a skill, but it also probably like really let you understand the stuff that you were learning in the roadmap. Like the part of the roadmap where it explains grading, marking, production cutting is hard for people to grasp until you see it, So I'm sure that was really helpful to understand how manufacturing is so different than making one.
Yeah, it definitely taught me like the organization of full production, and honestly just um the pre-production, like having that tech pack ready, answering any questions, making sure we know to review and then ask any questions. Well, at the time we ask any questions, and then just that communication. Um, I did a what was that thing? The workshop thing, the FCC LA.
Oh yeah, FCCLA.
It was crazy. We saw each other, but I did a workshop, and the first thing it was about bringing your ideas to life as a from the designer's perspective, and she kind of did it from the manufacturer's perspective.
This is for high school students.
Yeah, it was high school students. The first thing I told them though was, an idea is only a dream without communication. And that's kind of why I was talking about that tech back thing. Like that's the communication part that you need in order to bring your ideas to life, right? If they're not able to understand what you're trying to do, if they can't look at your tech pack and say, oh, she's trying to make a ball gown with this measurement, with these seams and X, Y, and Z, then it's just a dream because it's not going to get done. It's not going to be the way that you envision it. So it's literally just going to be your dream.
The communication and the organizational skills is probably the most important skill you need to have when you're manufacturing. You're not the one making it, somebody else is. So taking all that information in your head and getting it into a set of documents called a tech pack that has every sewing operation in the order that it goes, and the ISO number, the type of seam that it is, and the pattern pieces, and the BOM, the bill of material, the fabrics, the trims, every detail. It's pages and pages of information, has to be perfect before anything can be made. And then being able to communicate how much you want it to grow between sizes and how many you want to cut in production, so that Alex or whoever is doing the cutting knows how many layers to spread of the fabric, in what color they need to be, how many layers of pink and blue and yellow and whatever those are, so that you get the quantities that you want. All of that communication and organization skills is what you're taught in the roadmap. And that's, to me, the most important skill if you're an apparel entrepreneur that's manufacturing clothes. You have to understand that stuff, So hopefully that helped you kind of understand that, and maybe scared you away away from manufacturing. And that's why you do more of the, I'm going to make these myself one-offs because it is daunting. It's really hard to do all of that.
Yeah, but then you realize you need it. So you gotta learn it. You gotta teach yourself or learn. But it's something that's important. It's something that, I had to come to grips with. And now I'm really good at it, and I really enjoy it. Actually, that's probably my favorite part is making the tech bag.
That makes me happy.
So yeah, after this, we did the Label Horse show, and then fast forward to me trying to like get my name and my brand out there. We incorporated in 21, I think. I'm looking at my business partner Carlos. What you said when? You said 2021? So
you did follow what I said and got your LLC.
We did
okay.
Eventually. Or maybe this was 22 actually. This is 22, but we eventually did because I never considered myself a designer until I felt ready to be a designer. So I was always just like, I just make clothes, like, whatever. But then once I was like, okay, I know how to cut and sew, I know how to make a tech bag, I know how to manufacture, I know these things. I was like, okay, now I'm a designer. But I feel more like an engineer personally, but like, that's nor here nor there.
No, that is true. Somebody who makes clothing is an engineer. You're engineering the way that thing goes together. Exactly. And I like that you said that about the designer. I think when I first started in the industry too, my company I worked for, when I moved up from cutter, I started as a cutter too. And then I moved up to assistant designer and then designer, and they gave me business cards and I gave them back. I said, I don't want to call myself a designer yet. I don't feel comfortable with that. I'll tell you when I'm ready. And then I worked there for like another 6 months before I said, okay, put designer on my business card.
No, truly. Like I didn't want to like disrespect the title of designer. Like I said, I studied these people. Like I really wanted to be the Virgil Abloh, to be the Yves Saint Laurent, like the original Yves Saint Laurent. Like I really wanted to be these people. So like I had to study and like understand like what a designer truly meant, and how they portray themselves. And I didn't want to take that for granted. So anyway, fast forward, getting my name out there. We did a show called the Flash Mob Runway Show. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. Probably not. It was some years ago. Yeah, no. Okay, that's cool. The Flash Mob Runway Show, as you can see from these pictures, was my first fashion show. Me and Carlos's first fashion show that we fully produced. We got all the models. We made all the clothes. We sourced all the fabric. We got all the camera photographers. We did literally everything. Again, shouts out to Fabric and Angela because they kind of gave us the blueprint for it. But we literally did everything step by step. We had probably 15 like volunteers that really believed in the vision, like the flash mob. So the reason we did it was because it was the easiest way to get our name out there, right? Get a bunch of like the coolest people that we can find. That's Lance. He was actually the first one to walk. I'll talk about Lance in a second, but the idea was to get the coolest people in the area that we could find, have them under one roof, wearing one color, which is purple, which is our brand color.
My favorite color.
It's my favorite color as well. And take them the first Friday. So this is the second time I've been to First Friday. Take them the first Friday and have them walk in the middle of the road. That's why it was called the flash mob, because nobody expected it.
How did they all get there? Where did they like hang out where nobody could see them? Like, I'm trying to understand how the logistics worked of this.
So again, me being a scrappy, resourceful guy, Fabric has the parking garage, right? Like we're actually kind of like in the parking garage. Upstairs at the top is like this, there's nobody ever parks there. So as we're gathering people, we probably had like 30, we ended up like 35 models. As we're gathering people, we got 15 assistants, we got stylists, photographers, we got production team. There's probably like 5 or 6 of us. We said, hey, we got to do rehearsals because we can't just like go to First Friday because like, people are gonna get hit by cars, right? So we can't go to First Friday without a plan. So we did, did we do 2 rehearsals or just 1? We did 2 rehearsals.
Here in this parking garage?
At the top of the parking garage. It was like on a Saturday, like noon.
I had no idea.
Right? So we had all these people come. I guess I should have pulled pictures from that, but we rehearsed the entire thing. Like we're gonna like, yo, you have to walk like this. You got to make sure you walk on the outside and the sideway when you're coming back, or else again you're gonna get hit by a car. So like we're planning all these things and like making sure we have people like the photographer placed in one spot and like he's kind of like the cue. Like as soon as it flashes, that's your cue to go, and you better like do your thing again, you're gonna get hit by a car. Like that was like the biggest motif here. Like you're gonna get hit by a car. So that happened, and then this, mind you, this was Super Bowl weekend when the Super Bowl was here.
Yeah.
That weekend or that first Friday, right? So like everybody's here, and it's like twice as much people, like just traffic wise. So once we get to a couple hours before the show starts, we told everybody like 6:30. We ended up going on at like 8. Made people wait. We had everyone park at a CVS down the street from Roosevelt. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but a CVS. And I'm talking about, we had like 60, 70 people just in this parking lot. We had these tents from where's the place called? Bass Pro Shop. We got some changing tents from Bass Pro Shop, had 2 of them. People are in there changing, people are getting styled, like pictures going off. It was crazy. And then the CVS worker comes out and goes, yo, what are you guys doing? Again, there's like a group of like 70 people. And we're like, oh no, don't worry about it. It's like an art show for college. We're like, I'm at ASU, like, again, gotta finesse the system a little bit.
So you're talking about the CVS that's like over the bridge on like McDowell?
The big is that one?
So that's a walk. I mean, then you had to walk over the bridge.
Once everyone got changed, we did like a final rehearsal. And mind you, we're probably 30 minutes late for the actual show. Like we told people to get there, 6:30? It's 7 o'clock by this time. Mind you, we had to walk 15 minutes to get there to the actual show. So we do that. We finally line everybody up, and we're like, all right, y'all, we got to walk now. Everybody's like, woo! Like, you got to give them like a little, pre-game pep type rally to get them like going, like get the blood flowing, right? Or else everybody's gonna be like, oh, we got to walk. So I'm like, yo, like, we got to do this. It's going to be the craziest thing in the world. Like, you guys ready? Like, woo! Like, I'm screaming. I'm like yelling at everybody. I'm jumping in people's faces and going crazy. And everybody's like, yeah, let's go. And then we all walk. And again, mind you, this is like, I don't know if you guys know where the CVS is from, but it's probably a 15 or 20-minute walk. Yeah. Like it's a pretty steep walk, and there's 35, 40 people all dressed in purple, walking along the sidewalk, along that freeway. People are staring at us, going crazy. We get to the point. So do you guys see this truck that's behind everyone? It's like an LED screen. Let me see if it's the next picture. There's like a LED.
Point at that. There you go.
There's like a random LED truck. I don't even know if they have this there anymore. Whoops. Oh, it didn't save. Oh man. Real picture of like what the aftermath was. And we eventually had, as we got there was probably already like 50 people kind of like lined up, just like waiting for us. Like, we're walking up there like, woo! It felt like we were going into like an NFL game or something. Like, it was crazy. And we line everybody up. I'm like, yo, everyone in front of this truck. I'm like, everyone just like side by side, shoulder to shoulder, like just real, like this is Sparta, like proud moment, like going crazy. And everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's like silent, like, ooh, like it's about to happen. And we had to wait like another 30 minutes.
So you're all just standing there awkwardly?
Just standing there awkward. I told everyone, I said, yo, just face forward.
just stand there.
Just stand there and face forward and look like cool.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like,
that's probably cool. Like the best thing that could have happened. Everybody that walked by was probably like, what's going to happen?
Well, I wish I had the picture.
Yeah.
Literally everyone that saw was like, yo, what is happening?
Yeah.
And they stopped, and we ended up, so it's Roosevelt and 3rd Street, I think it was. We ended up blocking off the entire intersection.
With the mob? Like
with the mob, yeah, on both sides. Oh, wow. And I remember screaming, everybody, you might get hit by a car, but please just block off the intersection, please. And we finally got it going, and it was like time stopped. And I brought up Lance. He was the number 1 person to go. He was the first person to go. And he got on his skateboard, and he just like he literally rode his skateboard down, and it was like times like stopped. It was the craziest thing in the world. And they just started going, like, picture, boom, go. It was like everyone was in sync. It was like, again, the grace of God, like that. Everyone was kind of like locked in, and like no casualties, no cars were just like, I mean, you can hear people like, we're all like, woo, but like you can hear people like, honk, honk, like, yo, what are we going on? What's going on? But then like, I think just like the momentum of it, like people were like, just like, everyone was just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And there's people to this day this was like 2 or 3 years ago, 3 years ago now actually. There's people to this day still like, yo, like that flash mob, you guys got to do another one. I'm like, yeah, never again. Like, luckily the police though showed up as we were leaving.
I was gonna say, how did they not show up earlier? Like you're blocking off the street, the intersection, no cars could drive through there.
Probably for 15, 20 minutes.
That's
it was
crazy. It's already hard enough to navigate down there. People are probably pissed.
Like, probably in total, we probably had that intersection blocked up for 30 minutes.
Oh my God.
And the police showed up and was like, yo, I don't know what you guys are doing, but like, you just got to go. And we're like, we're kind of leaving anyway. So shouts out to you guys. Thank you.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I wish we had the drone shot, man. It was like, I can't explain it. Like, you just got to like see the drone shot.
I want to see it. Send it. I wish you had it.
He doesn't have it either. Yeah. I don't know.
You know what's so funny is all of our similarities. I always say, like, you remind me of me, like, you know. So one of my first, not the first, but one of my first fashion shows was at First Fridays, and very raw like that too. We actually got dressed in a semi, you know, and this is before downtown Phoenix was built up. This was in 2001 or 2. I mean, it was like, you know, no high rises like you see down there right now. And we all got dressed in like a semi truck, like the tractor trailer truck, you know, and then on a dirt lot, all the models are just walking, you know, on a dirt lot, like literally in the middle of houses and things like that. And it was awesome. Like the rawness and the grittiness of it and everything, like that was really fun. I mean, those are the things that make the fashion show part really fun. If you can pull it off without having to spend a ton of money just by doing things like that, you know?
Well, the best part about it though is we made graphics for all the models. Like we made specific, like, yo, flash mob, be there, whatever, like graffiti style graphics for all the models with their picture on it. All of them posted. They were posting afterward. Like everyone was super excited about it. And that was the first time me and Carlos, like we do stuff, but we do stuff just like to learn, like how to do it properly. We'll just like try throw things at the wall or whatever. That was the first time me and Carlos learned, like, oh, fashion shows are for marketing. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, of course you do sell some clothes or whatever, but like they're like, so you can, you know, expand your horizon or like expand your audience, you know?
I'll tell you what though, I did one show where I literally sold every single piece that I made. And I'm telling you the secret of how I did it. So I actually got this venue to give me their space for free. Nice. I actually had all of these models that were friends, you know, just like the same thing, that just wanted to get some experience and blah, blah, blah. And then, and the hair and makeup person were just like my buddies that we had been doing these shows and rising together, you know, so I didn't have any expenses. And the theme of it was kind of like a carnival circus type of thing. So everything I made looked very circus inspired. And I had like, clowns and jugglers and a stilt walker and, you know, all kinds of performance and things like that. They were all volunteers. They were all just people that were, you know, willing to do this, and created this entire, like, I don't know, 50 pieces for this thing. It was like only my stuff, nobody else. So I had to fill up the whole, you know, thing. It was a lot of work and everything. But what I did was, after the model got off of the runway, I had my friends backstage helping them take the clothes off and hang it back up onto the rack. So they were building the rack, you know, with all the clothes, the looks onto it right after. So as soon as the last model got off the runway, we hung the garment and we rolled the rack out onto the runway. Like right as I came and took my bow, the rack followed me, and everybody got up and ran to the rack and just started buying all the stuff. And I literally sold every single piece from that runway show. Not every single, there were 2 pieces I didn't sell. They were really expensive, and they were art pieces that I still have today. But everything else that was like meant to be worn, you know.
That tells me you make better clothes than I do.
No. They were not good. I'll tell you that. They were all like, this is when I was younger, and I wasn't really good at these
never
things.
sold anything off the runway.
I'm telling you, it's that like you quickly get it right out there when everybody's all hyped up and excited, and you're standing there and they come up to talk to you and they start looking through the rack, you know, that's the secret right then and there. Because if they have to wait, they're going to leave or whatever. So you just have to get it out there right when that happens, and you'll sell them all. Because everybody wants a piece of that action, like right after it happens, you know?
We need to, I'm about to say, write that down.
Yeah.
we need to do more of that. Yeah. But yeah, just piggybacking off of that, like, I absorb information. I don't know if I was talking to you about it at my pop-up, like you guys were like, yo, are you going to do another pop-up? I'm like, yeah, but like, it's more so I can learn how to do a pop-up. So when I do my own, like it'll feel like natural. Right. So one thing I learned, probably the biggest thing I learned from you guys is like, understanding, again, back to that communication, but understanding how to communicate my vision in order to get people to, like you said, volunteer.
Yeah.
Get people to believe in the vision so much that they'll just give their time, resources, and efforts for free. Or for discounted, or they'll like put you in contact with the better photographer or the better so and so, like because they're like, oh, he's trying to do something serious, or she's trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's one thing that I really learned from Fabric and Angela. Is every time you presented, it was the same tonality, it was the same everything, the same excitement. It could have been 4 people in the room, it could have been, a group of 200 people. Like, it was the same every time, and that taught me, like, okay, if I'm 100% every time, then, like, no matter where I'm at, I could sell something, or I could make somebody believe in what I'm doing. Like, so, yeah, I feel like I've never told you any of this.
I'm learning a lot today.
Yeah.
I love that you guys got ready on the roof over here.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Oh yeah, that was probably the funnest part. Like, it was just like good, like, again, being around a bunch of different creatives, a bunch of different people that are just, like, honestly cool, like, cool people. So that was probably the funnest thing.
Building your network. They're all sitting right here, right now.
Yeah.
So you guys, keep growing together like that. That's the best.
Let's see what's next, actually. So, yeah, none of this saved. I'm kind of upset about this.
Oh.
So this on the left side, this was my first collection, capsule collection. It was a pair of jeans that I hand sewed. This is the Uli pair that she pattern made for me.
Awesome.
And then it was these cutoff tees. And I don't know if you guys remember when Kanye did the super raw denim jeans and the white cutoff tees. I did this a year before that. So you've heard it here first. I'm better than Kanye. I'm better than Kanye. You guys heard it first. But it's funny, like, people were sending me that, like, yo, you see what Kanye's doing? I'm like, it's an honor, man. You remember that? I was like, man, it's an honor, dude. Like, he can have them. I don't even want to sell anything. Like, yeah, back in my mind, I'm like, but yeah, so, like, that was my first collection. It was called Mistakes Have Been Made, I'm Exhausted. That was, like, kind of like,
that was what it was called.
Yeah. Yeah, it was called that because just like the journey of where I got to, like, flunking out of college, not knowing what I was trying to do, wasting a lot of my mom's money. Those were all mistakes that I had to learn from. But the exhausted part, it's like kind of like a 2-part thing. The exhausted part comes from me being tired of myself, honestly. But also, this is going to get real dark here, but exhaustion is like a symptom of depression. And I wasn't depressed, but I was exhausted. In my mom's basement, I didn't have any windows. There was no sunlight, but I was in there for 8, 9, 10, whatever, like all day, all night. Didn't go outside for a couple of days. Like, it was like that. So, like, the exhaustion was just like, dang. You look up and you're like, dang, it's been 3 days and I'm in the same t-shirt, like, stink. I stink. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, just like little things like that. So that's where, like, the exhaustion parts comes from. So, like, mistakes have been made. I'm exhausted. It's I'm exhausted.
You're not alone, buddy. I mean, even all these years later, mistakes have been made and I'm exhausted.
So you got to keep going, But it's also like a reminder, like, you're always going to make mistakes. You're always going to be tired. But if you really want to do this, like, it's just, that's actually, it's funny. The one day, maybe that's where that comes from. It's one day, comma, maybe. So one day, okay, let me compose right here. I explain it like this, like, one day you can be great, or one day you can be not great, right? One day you can achieve your goals, or one day you cannot achieve your goals. The maybe part is you, right? It's like a challenge to myself, but it's also a challenge to whoever's wearing it or whoever's looking at it. The maybe part is literally you. Like, maybe you could do it if you're like Mamba mentality, you're working every day. If you're an athlete, you're getting up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym, or if you're sewing, you're constantly making something. Or you could not do that and you are just left as a maybe.
Well, because you need a moment too. I mean, sometimes it is like this and sometimes it's like this, because you can't always be like this. There wouldn't be this without this.
That is very true. That is very true. So I don't know. I like metaphors and like little stories and stuff. I like talk. I mean, you guys know. You guys went to my pop-up. We talked for probably like 2 hours past the time the pop-up ended. So I like talking. So,
well, if it makes you feel any better, yesterday I worked from 8 a.m. to midnight. I forgot to eat. I literally forgot to eat. I didn't eat today until lunchtime. It's still this way. Like the mentality of, an artist or somebody who's trying to make it happen, it's like that's the A-type personality that I think makes you unique, makes you an artist, makes you, that entrepreneur. It's a different life. It's a different world. You have to do this because you have passion. You have to do this because you want to do it. Like, why else would you work 12, 16 hours on something unless you loved it, right? So whether you make it or you don't make it, you're enjoying the ride. It's part of what you would do anyways, So embrace it and just know that's you. That's different than somebody who has a 9 to 5, goes to an office every day and is content with that. That's just a different personality. So you can embrace it. You can go through those ups and downs. And sometimes, that's depressing. Like you're sitting there sewing all day, or I sit in front of my computer most of the time. That's all I do. And, and that can sometimes get to you and you're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted, and you just have to put it in perspective and go, but this is what I love doing. This is what I would be doing anyways. I'm doing it for a reason. I'm sitting in front of the sewing machine because I love this,
Yeah. One big thing also is knowing what you don't know, one, but also embracing what you don't know. I pride myself on not knowing anything and being able to call somebody on speed dial and they can tell me the answer to what I'm trying to figure out. And I say that to say, like, it's very important to have a team around you, to have people that you can rely on to give you those answers, or to connect you with someone that has the answers, or to help you in your vision. Like, again, your job as a brand owner, designer, like whatever you are, your job is to just be able to sell whatever you're trying to sell. At the very core level of it, at least how I see it, the very core level, your job is just to know how to sell it, right? The second part is knowing how to put the right people around you to build it, right?
Yeah.
You're of course gonna be the spearhead of the building process or whatever, but like you don't have to do that if you don't want to. I don't want to.
You can't do it all either.
Yeah, well, exactly. You can't do it all, but I try to do as little as possible. And I try to get people that know more than me to do it because they'll do it the right way the first time.
Right.
And I don't have to YouTube University anymore.
Right.
So my slides are kind of messed up. So we're just gonna move to this right screen, I think. Is that
Yep.
okay?
It's all you, buddy.
It's funny. Angela said when she was first initially talking, she mentioned fashion shows are expensive. Fashion shows are very, very expensive. And we're doing, like, I'm even small scale. You're out a couple grand at least, just to sometimes even get in a show. So no shade to anybody. Before this show happened, this was our second, me and Carlos, our second fashion show where we produced everything and did all the stuff. But before that, we were gonna do Arizona Fashion Week. Again, no shade. That's why I'm disclaimer here. No shade to anybody.
I mean, they have to pay for things. So if you're joining a fashion show, it's going to cost money. They have expenses. They have bills to pay. They have to pay for the lighting. They have to pay for the sound, stuff like that. True. So it's expensive for that reason.
It was a couple grand just to be in the show. Not to mention the production of my collection. Right. Not to mention the space that we were going to use. Not to mention the what is it called? Like the little pop-up shop that they were going to give us. Right. All that, like, again, way too much money. So me and Carlos sat down one day and we're like, do we have that money? Just quite simple. Do we have that in the bank? And we quickly said no. But what we did say was, we could do that ourselves. Because we've done the flash mob. We were like, we can do anything. We can do the flash mob. We can do anything, right? So we were like, we can do that ourselves. We know a bunch of people now. So this was probably, the show was in March of 2024. We started planning in November of 2023. The first person we called, who's the first person? Was it Manny? The first person we called was our good friend Manny. He's a production camera guru. We were like, hey, we're going to do this. Can you please help? All right, that's all. First rule of thumb is always say please, and I promise you, 90% of the time people will say yes. We said, can you please help? He said, yeah, sure, of course. What do you guys want to do? We were like, we don't know, but can you just be there when we need you? And he was like, yeah, I got you. Then we did that same thing repeatedly for probably 10 other people that we knew. Luckily, that in November, we did a show at Cul-de-sac Tempe, which is where this took place. Which shout out to Angela, you guys threw me in that. We did a show and we brought so many people and they loved the energy and the vibe. Like we had this whole theatrical thing that we did. They loved it so much that just like post the show, I just got on a call and was like, hey, we want to do this fashion show. We were thinking about having it at your place, just like kind of like, checking the temperature. We were like, we think about having it at your place. But we don't know, like, is it cool? Like, whatever. And they were like, yeah, we would love to have you guys. You guys want to do this, and that? When do you want to do it? And I was like, thank you, Jesus.
Yay. And if you don't know what cul-de-sac is, it's a driverless community here in Tempe. So it's like a whole little mini city and you can live in it. And there's like a grocery store and restaurants and all kinds of really cool.
Beautiful place. Very
concept.
beautiful place. Yeah. So we were like, cool, we got the venue down, which is like the biggest thing. If you're going to ever do an event, get in the venue. We locked that down, free, right? Biggest thing is free.
That's the biggest expense right there. Yep. So that's the trick,
yep.
And like when I said I had that other show, it was a photo studio that had just opened up and they were looking for marketing, for opportunities. And I was like, I'll bring a whole bunch of people into your space, so they were like, okay, I'll let you have the space for the day or whatever. So
we jumped at that opportunity. Corella & Co. is a modeling school agency. We had done some work with them in the past and they really enjoyed working with us. So we reached out to them. Hey, instead of us outsourcing a bunch of models, can you just bring everyone you know? They did that.
And that gives their models this experience so they can put that on their resume and they're new. And so they're going to get some, experience out of this and something to share. And that's a great way to do it.
You're speaking a lot more professionally than how we were, unfortunately, but,
and they have some great models. They're really good at this, like teaching people, how to model. Yeah. So this is a perfect thing.
There was a trust thing there with them. They trusted us and we trusted them for sure. And then the holidays happened. So we kind of like stopped all planning. We picked it back up in January. We didn't start promotion until February, right? Till February, looks like a month out before the show.
And it's in March? Wow.
Yeah. Right. We did a lot of video, photo, again, leaning on people. I personally invited, this is a huge thing. I tell anyone this, if you're wanting to do an event, the personal invitation goes so much farther than just like posting on Instagram or whatever. I personally invited probably 250 people, just like DM, email. I invited you guys. I invited ASU, like FIDM or whatever, just like outsource. EVIT Fashion School. They ended up giving us some of their students to be interns. And then they actually came to the show as well. Like all these things, like it helped one build partnerships, but also it got a lot of people to the show.
But I love that you said that, like individual reaching out is the way. I mean, we do tons of events and shows and things, not tons anymore. I'm tired, but we can put it out there all we want on social media. We can share it in our newsletter, but nothing really works except for me literally calling, texting, messaging, and reaching out to like every person in our network. I have to individually say, hey, did you see we're having this show? We really want you to be there. And they're like, I don't even know. I'm like, oh my God, we've had it on social media for 3 weeks. How come you haven't seen it or whatever? You have to do that to get people to see things nowadays. You're fighting against all kinds of other, things on social media. So reaching out, and that takes all that work. Like you have to sit there and do that. That's a lot of work. We still have to do that here.
It was definitely a lot. Shout out to Carlos though. He's the marketing guy. He made it incredible. Like he took just my basic idea of what I wanted and made it this entire like theme, this entire like movie essentially. And it got people like really excited about the show. A few of you guys were there. I know you were there. I don't know.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. But the theme, I knew I had to, because again, I've been to Phoenix Fashion Week. I've done all these other shows, and I knew like how am I going to, again, going back to the flash mob, how am I going to get everyone to post? Because that's again, fashion shows is just marketing. So how am I going to get everyone to post and maximize my ROI? So I was like, okay, the theme is going to be business casual. Because I know it's broad enough to where everyone can be involved, but it's also classy enough to where people can like get dressed and like, oh, I'm dapper down, because people don't usually wear business casual, right? So I mean, we had people coming in suits. I think you were wearing a tie and a nice Carhartt jacket or something. Like people were coming like really fly, and I made sure to have I think we had 2 photographers go around and just like, hey, can I take a picture of your outfit? Hey, can I take a picture of this? Like really make people feel like celebrities, essentially. We had name tags on all the seats. Like I wanted people to feel like they were going to something a lot larger than what it actually was. So that way um, they would post. And that literally everyone I'm talking about, we had hundreds and hundreds of people posting their story, posting the fit pics afterwards, and like really being proud of like just being there in the atmosphere. And like we had probably like 15 like vendors as well, like different what are they called? Vintage vendors, different brands. We had tooth gem people. Like it was a whole different like atmosphere that we had. Because again, the show was from, was it 6 to 10, 4 to 9 or something like that? It was something like we had to have people there for like hours. So I'm like, how do I do that? So again, the dress code, it was a dress code. So again, made sure people like, you have to be there or else you're getting kicked out. And then we had a vendor section. The vendor section was first, and then we did the fashion show. The vendor section actually saved our bucks. We had to rearrange the entire seating arrangement. So like people were just like mingling, checking out the vendors, buying stuff. And then they came to the actual fashion show when we were ready. And we had 5 other designers as well. So people like, that's another part of the marketing, like people bringing in their family members, ticket sales, like all that stuff. So yeah, I say all that to say, man, that was fun. That was our biggest fashion show by far. We had over 250 people at the show. And we had we sold out of tickets. We put out like overflow tickets, so people just like coming in standing. We sold out of those, and then we were just like, at this point, like you can just come in because it's open air, so we can just come in and watch. So there's people like they're walking up and like just standing there. It was actually the crazy part is the event planner for Cul-de-sac told me that the CEO wasn't going to be able to come there and speak because we wanted to, do like a sponsorship thing. And I'll never forget this. I remember walking, like going to the production team to like fix something. And I just see this tall, just plain Jane dude just sitting there, like taking pictures. And I'm thinking he's a resident. I'm like, yo, nice show, isn't it? Huh? I'm like proud, whatever. He's like, yeah, it's real nice. And then I walk away, and 5 minutes later, they go, all right, we're going to bring up the CEO of Cul-de-sac. And guess who it is? Like, it's this dude just walking up. Yeah, we're Cul-de-sac. We're doing this and that. And I'm just like, I would have like introduced myself. So it was a whole crazy thing. So you never know who you're going to bump into. But yeah, that was definitely a highlight of my career.
I like that you brought in the other designers. So I used to put on an event at the Scottsdale Museum of Contemporary Arts. This was how I started my career here in Arizona. And I brought 10 designers in every quarter. They each got to put in 10 looks, and we switched it up. There'd be like a sellout, like 800 people would come to the museum to see all these people. And in each quarter, it was a different group of 10 designers. And that's how I built this community of designers who needed manufacturing and everything eventually.
Yeah.
And it's all about sharing the wealth. It's all about sharing the opportunity, because the original show that I had at the museum, they asked me to put my own stuff in there, and I did. And they were like, you want to do it again? And I said, no, I want to put other people's stuff in there. You're like, I want to help promote other people. And that's how you build your family of, people that help each other, and you build your crew that way. And that's why people are sitting here today, because you're doing that.
Yeah, that is very true. That's how you build your network.
Yeah.
Also smile at everybody. That's a good way too. Smile at everybody. All right. So what am I up to now? Nick, can you stand up actually? I'm just making some cool jeans, man. My boy Nick rocking them right now. These are called the exposed denim jeans.
Yay.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Walk down the runway if you want. You know.
That's awesome. Did you make
this
these
guy?
From scratch?
No. This is we just released these last November. This is our first pair of like fully manufactured jeans. Still got some left available. Still have a few sizes left available. So if you want some.
Did you make them yourself, or did you?
I made a pair. Actually, they might be. So this right here, this guy's wearing the sample that I made, like by hand, and then I use that to make the tech pack and all that other stuff, and then that's the final thing.
So proud.
And now I got a lot of people wearing them.
Oh, awesome!
This was unplanned. I just wanted to point that out.
That you all were wearing them?
Yeah, we did the Spider-Man meme too, guys. Just for anyone that was curious. So I mean, that's what I'm doing now, just making a bunch of jeans. My goal is to be the Ralph Lauren for the Black community and um, dominate, and dominate. um, I don't know if I have any more pictures. Oh, I was in some magazines and stuff.
So I always ask everybody to include kind of accolades. So, press, things like that. So he's not bragging. It was my choice to tell him to put these things in there. So,
Yeah. Listen to me on Spotify. Talk about. I don't even remember what I was talking about, but listen to me on Spotify. Blaze Radio. Shout out to Blaze Radio. They invited me to do their podcast, and that was really fun. But
and what's the other one?
the other one, another thing with the fashion show marketing, we invited the Chic Daily, which is a branch from ASU, and then Styline Magazine, which is a student at ASU or she was a student that ran that magazine. We invited them to come cover the show. And I know it's not like, the Phoenix Times or like whatever the big papers are out here, but I knew it would create a buzz and make it official. Even if they aren't like the biggest of papers, it would just make it official.
They're reaching your target customer too. So
that too, exactly. But now I can leverage that and go talk to stores or go talk to other, I don't even know, but I can leverage that now and help further my brand in a more professional setting because I have.
You're going to get more and more of this the more that you keep doing the things that you're doing. So this is free advertising. It's when you get stories written about you in magazines and newspapers and things like that you don't have to pay for that. So that's the goal ultimately when you want, to get the word out there. So just being involved, doing all the things that you're doing is how you build that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The scrappiness.
Should we do questions? Can we do questions now?
Yeah. Are you done?
I don't have any more slides, I don't think. Nope.
Okay. All right. So first of all, I just want to give you a big hand for opening up and telling us all the trade secrets and everything.
Thank you guys.
I'm so excited that this has become something for you and to watch the journey and everything, like I always said, I'm like, you remind me of myself, so I have like a special place in my heart and very proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So keep me involved in your journey. And we want to offer question time now. So if anybody has any questions for Alex, please raise your hand. I'll bring you the mic so we can get it on the camera. Oh, he'll bring you the mic. There we go.
I have a question. So as we know, Arizona isn't really big for fashion. So I just want to know, how do you navigate your business within the Arizona market? And then what do you do to help because you're based here, right? Okay. So how do you expand your business being based out here with the lack of fashion?
Can I answer this question? So to me, it's better to be here because in LA or New York, you're just another fish in the sea, right? You can make a name for yourself outside of those places. It's so much harder to do that in those places. Plus, those places are kind of stuck in their old school ways. And things are changing so rapidly with technology now. We here at Fabric have the technology they don't even have at most of those factories in places like that. So you are sitting in a innovation center that doesn't even exist in the fashion industry cities. And so this to me is the beginning of a new fashion industry, a place where people are going to want to be, that are already starting to want to be here because of stuff like this. And we have hundreds of designers in Arizona. So there is an actual fashion industry here, and there's manufacturers. Ever since we've been here, we've encouraged other factories to start up. So there's now sewing factories and all the things that weren't here when I first moved back here. Moved back here from LA in 2001. I had to shut my brand down that I had in LA because I was manufacturing in LA and there was no manufacturing here. There now is, so we're building a fashion industry here. So if you are interested in fashion, stay here. This is the place to be. You can make a name for yourself and you can be on the ground floor of a place that is doing it better, that's creating. What was that? It's a blank slate. Exactly. Yes. So a lot of people say, I got to move. I got to go to New York or LA. Why? It's going to be really expensive and you're going to have to fight against standing out from the crowd. Here, you can make a name for yourself, right?
How do I navigate? I don't navigate per se. I just have fun. If you're having fun with something, it's always going to outshine. It's always going to bleed through the cracks or whatever the saying is. And just making sure you understand what you want to do, because we have social media now. Like, let's be honest. Like, I can post a picture right now, and someone in Australia or someone in Japan could see it, and like, you never know who's watching it, right? And then making connections. That's the biggest thing, because you never know who knows who. Like, LA is only 5 hours from here. People come here all the time. So like, if you run into somebody in the store, having that confidence to be like, yo, you have a dope outfit. I think you would like my clothes. Like having that confidence. So that's kind of how I navigate the, I guess, smaller industry we have right now.
So when you like first started, I guess, with your second brand, not your first brand, what would you say was like the biggest moment where you were like questioning yourself, or like the biggest roadblock, I guess?
Trying to figure out what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be. Did I want to be like a pattern maker that made everything from scratch and like posted about it all the time, or did I just want to like create fun experiences for people, which is what I did for a time, or do I want to I think the biggest thing was that's a really tough question for me, because I feel like I'm not there yet. I think the biggest thing that I had to realize that got me out of that mental block is like understanding that I don't even understand where I'm going to be at, like the vision that I have for myself. Because my vision, I'm always looking to one up myself. I'm always looking to go to the next step. So like understanding that and being okay with like, I might just be crazy right now, you know what I'm saying? Or I might not be able to do it right this second, but I know like if I write that down and like just keep it in the back of my mind, it could be 5 years from now, but like that's going to be achieved. But I also have more knowledge, so I'll be able to achieve it times 10, times 20. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think just being okay with that was the biggest thing that helped me overcome like the roadblocks or like being down on myself or doubting myself. It's like, hey man, you just got to be different, buddy.
You're still on your journey. You're so young. You are.
That's what they all
you
say,
still
man.
have so much.
I come back from
ahead of you.
basketball, man. I was knees. I be putting on icy hot. I was crazy.
Any other questions? Oh, I think I saw yours go up first.
Are there any books that you've read that have really made an impact on you that maybe push you in this direction? Or are there any podcasts that you regularly listen to and that really push you?
Sheesh. There's a couple books I read. Andre Leon Talley, his like biography, his book thing. I don't know what it's called. I read that. I read. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But it's this one of the first like Vogue editors. It's this lady. What is her name? She has this like book with like a bunch of like random sayings in it and different like illustrations and pictures and stuff, which is really interesting, inspiring. I'm currently reading right now this book on retail and like why we shop the way we shop. Because again, I want to do my own pop-up, so I want to understand how like people operate essentially. What other book? Oh, I read this book called what is it called? I don't know any names. I just know I read these books. But it's a Japanese book about like the simple functions that we do, like not forgetting those things, like the mundane things, like, and it helped me appreciate manufacturing a lot more. Like the people that I'm sewing the same zipper for 8 hours straight. I'm just doing 100 of these for 8 hours straight. It made me appreciate that thing a little bit more. It helped me as a designer to design details specifically for that person, that like, they're such simple things, but like, they're also like the coolest things. Like I have a pair of jeans, they're Acne Studios jeans. And they're just normal black wash jeans, but in the inside there's pink thread. And I had them for probably like 6 months before I even saw the thread, and I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Can I recommend a podcast?
Business of Fashion podcast is also a really good one too.
Good.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have any?
Clothes Horse.
I've never.
I would recommend that podcast. It's all about sustainability, fashion sustainability, and it covers. There's hundreds of episodes. I'm on like episode 100 80 or something at this point, and it's every topic of the fashion industry, and she really dives in. It's pretty good.
Oh, if you're on YouTube, look up Bliss Foster. He's awesome. Look up. Yeah, I'm so bad with names. Oh my goodness, I'm just forgetting everyone. But Bliss Foster for sure is a really good one. He's very intelligent the way he speaks about clothing, and yeah, he's a really good one. And then you'll just kind of like find him from there. But he's the one I really like. And oh, the casual, Reggie Casual. He's an OG, but he talks a lot about Japanese fashion and stuff. So he's a good one.
Clothes Horse. Yeah.
Oh,
All right. I
Yeah.
saw some hands go up over here. Was it you guys?
What brands and designers that inspire you right now, like in this generation?
in the generation or just
In
like
your generation.
in
general.
my generation?
Yeah, like what inspires you right now?
Um,
Brands or designers.
Brands are so it has to be like not like old like OG people know OGs.
I mean, yeah, you can say that too. I mean, both.
Okay.
Something from the past and something that's kind of current right now.
Past would for sure be I guess it's current too, but Acne Studios is a big one for me. Obviously Virgil, RIP. There's a brand called Ado Ero. It's a Korean brand. They have like if you're just wanting to like find creativity and just like different ways of thinking about clothing, it's pronounced Ado Ero, but you spell it ADER and then error. Error, yeah. Oh my goodness. If you again, just the way that they think about clothing is so just different. It's insane. Like, so they're my biggest inspiration just in general, like for sure. But like obviously Virgil Blow, Andre Leon Talley, Samuel Ross is a big one for me, like his engineering and his architecture. New brands would probably be like Basket Case, No Maintenance. There's another one I'm forgetting too. But I like a lot of the brands that like do denim, but do it like in a. Oh, Kid Super is a really really good one. I love the way he just incorporates different different things into his fashion shows, like doing the comedy show and I don't even know what else he did. He did stand up and he did yeah, a circus. Yeah. Oh, the auction thing that he. I don't know. Anyway, he's dope too. But those are for sure some of my like favorite. Like again, Ado Edo. I can't stress this enough. Ado Edo is my favorite anything. Yeah, it's Korean.
My question
What's
is,
up?
so in regards, in terms of mentorship, one step ahead of you, I feel like fabric was that for you at some point. At this point in your life as a designer, who is that person or what is that thing that's one step ahead of you that's helping you get to your goals?
Shout out to mom.
Shout out moms. Yeah, of course her. She's definitely there every step of the way. I have a few just mentors that are just like good for my, like Carl and I said, like mind, body, and soul. I have a few of those, but also a good friend of mine, his name's Chase. He's the creative director for Monster Energy right now. So he's been like kind of like if I'll send them like a pitch deck, because again, it's like corporate world. So if I send them like a pitch deck or like an idea I have to pitch somebody, I don't know, something like that, I'll reach out to him and he'll kind of like help me break it down, tell me what he's expecting and like those types of things. So I guess I wouldn't say I have like a design mentor right now, but it's more like the other things around me.
All right. One more question.
So my question is, how did your design style kind of change from, like you said, you were upcycling in the beginning, just working with what you got and turning it into something, and then transitioning to like making a tech pack and having like an idea of this vision that you might not see the pieces because they're not upcycled, but you want it to look like this. What was that design process going from like seeing what you're working with to now, oh, I got to do it digitally or like a tech pack or come up with this idea that's not like tangible yet?
Well, I always knew I wasn't like gonna be an upcycle guy. I already that wasn't my lane. Again, I always saw myself in like the Yves Saint Laurent, like I want to eventually get to that point where I'm making like beautiful clothing, like what I consider beautiful clothing at least. So one, I learned Illustrator. That was the first step. And then I also learned how to manipulate patterns. So buying, I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but they have like thousands of random, like, the paper patterns, like Vogue patterns and stuff like that. I would take those and like take them home and like go cut some stuff out and then bring them back. Again, I don't know if you know that, but so doing that, and again, understanding like the math of it and the actual engineering of it, and then taking my brand serious, and really, like, again, shout out to Carlos. He asked me like tough questions, like, yo, if you want to do this, like, we have to like know what it is you want to do, right? So understanding what I want to be, where I want to go, where I want to take things, the inspirations, like he kind of like told me or taught me, like, I need to have all this down to where I could tell you exactly what Alexandre is, what the inspirations are, in elevator pitch essentially, right? And that helped me, coupled with the Illustrator, of course, that helped me understand how to digitally make things, because now I have a lane, right? I have like a clear, quote unquote clear vision of what I want to do. I want to do a lot of denim. I want to make it like more industrial. I want it to feel like you can wear it anywhere. I want it to be durable. I want it to have like meaning to it, like, so like back tags, like little small details, all those types of things. Like, that's why I say the tech bag is my favorite part, because like that's like my blank canvas. I have like a basic bodice of like a pair of jeans, for instance, and now I get to like, all right, we're gonna do this wash, and I'm gonna put this tag in this place, but then I'm gonna change the tag and make it look curved and all this other stuff. So it definitely has changed in the fact that it's more put together. It's more adult, if you will. But it still has like my younger influences in it too. So
Demetrius, who just asked you this question, won our Refabricate challenge last year.
I remember that.
It's part of
Pretty sure I
Eco
was there.
Fashion Week. It's actually the upcycled challenge. And so you take denim and you upcycle it into something.
Oh
And
yeah, you made that fire.
it was so good. Yeah. So I just want to shout you out right now, because it was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
And so I know why you're asking this question, because like maybe you're like, okay, I want to start making my own things from scratch. And what? Yeah.
I've been making them from like scratch, but now it's like business-wise scaling.
Right.
I want to learn AI. Like, I gotta really hone in on that, like tech packs. Making my first ones of those. I'm working with manufacturers for other brands, but yeah, that transition of, man, I'm making it all by hand, upcycled, working with what I got to. Okay, I have ideas in my head now. Put it on a tech pack, and then work with manufacturers, which is fun. But yeah, kind of in that transition phase right now.
The biggest thing is you want to learn Illustrator. That's going to be the biggest thing. Obviously, I know you have a strong grasp of patterns, and
so it's like learning AI is going to be a little bit different.
yeah. Once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. And like, I don't recommend doing anything from scratch. Go on Etsy and find like some like vector files, like, so you can just, again, manipulate those and like add whatever you want to do, take away whatever you want.
Or
make it
come
easy.
through Fabric's roadmap.
Or do that. That's the quickest way
That's
for
what we
sure.
exist for. Go through and follow all the steps to get something manufactured, and
Yeah.
we'll help you through it. But the Illustrator like is going to help you with drawing your flats. The flat
Yeah.
is the very first component, and if your flat is drawn, then you can actually cost it, and then you can actually have a pattern made or make it yourself, and that's your very first thing. So if you can draw your own flats, to me, that's your very first step. And then if you can make your own patterns, it's going to save you some money. And just by understanding, starting with a block, pivoting and slashing and spreading, and do all the things that you need to do to turn it into another style. Like, if you can get that down, then it opens up a world of design choices, and sticking to the same design and just springboarding off of that for new designs, is a cheaper and easier and better way to do it. And so Nate's got the same thing going on right now. He's trying to learn all of that pattern stuff, because those are the skills that are going to take you from upcycling things that already exist to making something from scratch and getting it manufactured. I said, read this.
That is what she'll do.
Yeah, that pattern
Um,
class that I took in school was 6 hours a day for a reason. 6 hours a day to learn how to make patterns for a year. And
I still don't understand
it's still not the
nothing
easiest.
about it, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Like 50 pages through, she said, "Oh, don't like read all the way through. Just like scan over everything." No, I'm reading every word.
Yeah, you have to. Well, it's a lot of math. Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of math. And a
But
lot
the
of,
good
like,
thing is you don't even need to make your own patterns. You just kind of have to understand the concept. And then somebody else who's been doing it for 20 years should be making your production patterns because they have the experience that will make it fit right. It will make it balanced, will make it walk, will make it production ready.
yeah.
Just if you have the understanding of what you're looking at is all you really need, you know? And so they're going to do that work. You shouldn't make your own patterns. I won't even make my own patterns if I'm going to get it manufactured. And I've been doing this for 30 years because I haven't been a production pattern maker before, you know? So I
Yeah,
don't
you
rely
don't- you
on
don't have to make
being
your own patterns.
perfect, you know? I understand patterns. I can change them. I can edit them. I can look at them and I can say, oh, that looks weird. But I'm going to have somebody else who has that experience do it. So put your skills to use in other ways because don't spend the time doing that something that, you know, somebody else can do better than you, like he mentioned, you know, surround yourself with the people that can do those things. And your skills are telling them what you want so that it comes out correct, you know, like giving them the information they need to make it. So speccing, you need to know how to spec, you need to know how to draw flats, you need to know how to source materials, you need to know how to fill out all the information that pattern maker is going to put into your tech pack, or you put it in there for them, whatever. But understanding the tech packs and understanding quality control, knowing how to check that the pattern is correct, knowing how to check that the marker is correct and that the grading is correct and that the cutting is and sewing and, you know, all of those steps. And that's what you learn, you know, when you go through our roadmap. Those are the skills that make it so you can actually manufacture something.
That's a lot of experience. Yeah, exactly. That was a lot. Hey, just have fun, man. That's the biggest thing, man. Have fun.
Specking is measuring a garment. So you want to be able to measure it the same way the industry does. So you can say, you know, to the pattern maker, hey, change the rise by this much or make the waist this much, because then you're measuring in the same place they are, you know.
Remember I told you at the pop-up? It's like,
there's about 50 points of measure on any garment, and you got to measuring in the same place everybody is.
well, what I told him was if you the better you can get at that part and like the specking and like understanding like basics of pattern making, the cheaper everything's going to be, because you can do one sample and be like, all right, I want to change X, Y, and Z, change that, and then you're honestly good for production. You know what I'm saying? Like, so hey, man, gotta work smarter than hard. Hey, we ain't rich out here. Get it out the mud out here. But
all right. Well, we're going to wrap it up. Before we wrap it up, though, I want to take a photo. I would love Alex to stand in the middle here. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to take a photo of you guys all with Alex. And so we've done this a couple different ways. Either you can stay in your seat or we can have everybody get up and kind of surround you. What do you prefer?
what do you guys want to do?
Okay. So let's just have you go right here in the middle and then everybody kind of get up and go close to him. And I'm going to take a group photo of you all. The mic is going to fall.